In this video, I will explain the math behind a sinking fund. So let's start with the definition. A sinking fund is a fund that is formed by depositing a certain amount of money periodically so that you can accumulate a certain amount to pay for an expense in the future. So the whole idea behind this is that you want to accumulate a certain amount of money at some future date by making regular deposits into an account. Now, the way that you can figure out how much that deposit or how much that payment should be each period, here's the formula that you can use. A is equal to FV times R over N divided by 1 plus R over N raised to the power of N times T minus 1. Now, in this formula A, this is the payment at the end of each period. FV is the future value that we want to accumulate. R is the annual interest rate. N is the number of compounding periods per year, and T is the total number of years. So let's take a look at an example of how to actually use this formula. This says, Carl sets up an education fund for his child to have $50,000 after 10 years. The account pays 8% annual interest, compounded quarterly. How much should Carl contribute to the account at the end of each quarter to meet his goal? So this is a classic example of a sinking fund. Someone is trying to accumulate a certain amount of money after a certain number of years, and we just want to figure out how much should this person be contributing to this account to actually end up with $50,000 after 10 years. So let's go ahead and use our formula up here. We can say A, the payment that Carl should be making at the end of each period, is equal to the future value. So the future value is $50,000. That's how much he wants to accumulate. So we'll go ahead and fill that in for FV, the future value. And then we're multiplying that by, we have R over N in the numerator. So R is the annual interest rate, which we're told the account pays 8% annual interest. So as a decimal, that would be 0.08. And we're dividing that by N, where N is the number of compounding periods per year. So in this example, it says the account pays 8% annual interest compounded quarterly. So there are 4 quarters in a year, so it will be compounded 4 times per year. So for N, we're going to use 4. So put a 4 right there. Now in the denominator, we have 1 plus, again, we have R over N, so that's 0.08 over 4. And then we're raising that to the power of N times T. So again, N is 4, the compounding periods per year. T is the total number of years. So it says Carl wants to have $50,000 after 10 years. So for T, we're going to use 10. So we'll multiply by 10. And then lastly, we subtract 1 in the denominator. So this is the formula that we can use to actually figure out how much Carl should be contributing to this account at the end of each quarter. So if we simplify this a little bit, here's what we get. And then if we punch all of this into a calculator, we end up with $827.79. So this is the amount that Carl needs to contribute at the end of each quarter in order to have $50,000 after 10 years. So that was just a quick example of how to calculate the periodic payment for a sinking fund.